This is my testimony, part 7. So I moved in with my wife. She had 2 children at this time, a 6-year-old and a 3-month-old. And I learned how to be a father. I learned how to be a dad to these kids. And it was a challenge I didn't know how unprepared for I was. Even though at 19 years old, approximately around the time my oldest son now was born, I had wished for my son. I had wished for a kid. Little did I know God already had planted these kids for me. I worked at a factory for about 7 months right after we met in the town that she lived in Ohio. And it was a miserable experience. It was a leaded facility. I had to become somebody I didn't like. I was drinking heavily again. And I had stopped smoking weed for a long time, but I had picked it back up while working at that factory. So I was just pretty much back where I started, and even dabbling in speed pills again. It wasn't until years later that I really gave my life to Christ. Actually, it was even after we got married. We conceived a daughter, and when she was about 8 months pregnant, we ended up getting married. The wedding was planned and everything. It wasn't a shotgun wedding. It was everything was according to how it should have been. It was the nicest day in October that we could have picked, and it was a very blessed day. And everybody reminds me of how lucky I was on that day, that it was about 68 degrees instead of 32. So, God ordained that day, I believe. So going forward, I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, and about a year after that, we conceived another daughter, and she's about to turn 1 now. This concludes part 7.